Hello, lovely people. It is a beautiful day here at the Mother Temple, and I'm so glad to be here with you. God and Goddess, thank you so much for all the blessings that you have given us. Thank you for the ability to wake up today. Thank you so much for life and all of its ups and downs. Help us to be appreciative of all of the things. Help us to see learning experiences in our daily lives, especially when things are rough. Help us to see the path through these rough things and back to heaven most high. Help us remember why we came here and align with that journey so that we can feel fulfilled and be fulfilled and help uplift the rest of our brothers and sisters. In the name of Elohim, I pray. Amen. Yay. Today on the Nasarean calendar, which I actually have right here to show you. This calendar is available downstairs in the bookstore. You can order from Essene.org. This is a lovely calendar, but what I was going to say is that today, Friday, is Mother Earth Day. We are in the month of love, and this beautiful artwork is by Priestess Therese, who also is the one that created this calendar. It shows the Nasarean days of the week, but it also shows the Gregorian calendar dates as well so that you can follow along. Anyways, that being said, let's say the noontime peace and contemplation for Mother Earth Day, which is our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent. Send it to all your angel of peace. To the kingdom of the earthly mother, send your angel of joy. It was a great day. Well, it is, but the Nasareans, we read in the Megillah that they would spend time on this day playing with children and really celebrating the family, taking it easy, but focused on playing and having that be an important part of our lives, because Jaja is about play as much as work as well. Yes, there's a lot of work to be done, but how we go about that work and also how we go about play is important as well. It's not just get in there and suffer and do all of these, these heavy spiritual practices with no lightness and playing in the world. So that being said, we're going to continue today reading about different things. Love is kind of my theme that I've been going with this week, leading up to Valentine's Day. Actually, before I say that, I should say one more thing about today, which is Friday the 13th. And especially with the patriarchal society, this date has been kind of labeled as evil or unlucky or any of that. The ancients actually saw this day, the 13th, it was a celebration of the goddess. It was Goddess Day. And that is not just the goddess as in a female that, you might see as you're worshiping Jana or whatever, but the divine feminine, the divine within all of us, whether you're male or you're female, we all have the masculine and feminine within us. And it is something that we should rejoice about. That masculine and feminine embrace is throughout all of creation. It's why we're here, right? Our moms and dads did that dance. That dance is in everything, though, even in creation. Split a log. There you'll find us dancing, right? That's a paraphrase of the part that Christ says, but it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, yeah, I hope that this day we can kind of learn a lot of different things and question the programming and say, oh, why is Friday the 13th unlucky, or different superstitions and things like that. That should definitely be questioned. Yes. David D says, help us align with our divine journey. Absolutely. So that being said, we're going to jump into today's reading from the Holy Megillah, the Nasarean Bible of the Essene Way, translated by Dave Greenleaf and available at Essene.org. If you see on their website here in the videos tab, if you click on that, at the top, there's actually a bar that says, it asks if you would like to be added to the church Zoom link service so that gets sent to you. That's already on there, so you don't have to go to the contact page. I'm going to ask them to maybe make that on both pages, so it makes it easier. But for those that don't, want to make it really easy, you could just go on the videos tab and sign up for church service, which is going to be this weekend on the 15th. So hopefully you'll tune in. I will be here since I'm already here. Awesome. So chapter 47 of the Holy Godspell. I mentioned this yesterday a little on accident, kind of. But I figured that I should read it today because at the end, a little spoiler alert, it says that Nazarenes can celebrate this Kiss of Remembrance as a special theme of celebration during the month of love. So I figured that it'd be a good time to talk about what that Kiss of Remembrance is so that we can take this with us throughout the rest of the month. Chapter 47, verse 203. I also would like to preface this for all of my lovely flat earth friends. I'm a flat earther as well. This all is taking place within the mother ovum, and this has also been translated in the perspective of someone who is not a flat earther yet. So just keep that in mind and understand that although it does say words that are correlated with space, that we understand the globe Earth deception that NASA gives us is a deception. But in the mother ovum, inside of the ovum, there is definitely room for more ovums to exist, in which would be these flat earth systems that we are in. A lot of people, we'll get into flat earth at a different topic or on a different day where I could do a concise video about that. But it's not a flat plane that is whirling around the sun in the middle of, like, you don't just replace a globe with a flat plane. It's an enclosed realm with a stationary plane because frankly, humans need flat surfaces to exist on. And then we have mountains and hills and all these great things that we can go and explore that make it fun and exciting and different. So that being said, hey Lucas, how's it going? Hopefully you're doing well and staying warm there in, wherever you are. I won't say your information online. Cool. Chapter 47 of the Holy Godspell, 203. I bring a bit of ancient Nasarean lore and ask Magdana to record it for inclusion in the next edition of the Holy Megillah, Nasarean Bible of the Essene Way. In the early ages of the mother ovum, before the Lord and Lady had manifested multiple bodies, for there had yet been no need, the Lord Christ Jade went on a mission and asked the Lady Christ Jana to wait for him. Jade did not desire to be away from his beloved Jana, but his mission was to a realm that had fallen into darkness, and he wished to spare Jana the rotten stench of such a realm. While Jade was away, a messenger, first spark, came to Jana with news of the foul activities of Beelzebub in another sector of the mother ovum. First Spark reported that many were suffering beneath the dark despotism of Beelzebub, who masqueraded as God in the galaxy that he once served as Chief Abram. That story was as follows. In the days before his fall, Beelzebub was a cherubim overseer of a galaxy. It is the duty of the Abram and Sarah of the highest heaven of a galaxy to help the souls of their galaxy graduate to the next highest galaxy. We can just say world if you'd like. But Beelzebub, having been hailed as God on a visit to a first heaven of a star in his galaxy, decided that he liked being God. And he desired not to graduate the souls of his dominion, but to keep them in his realm and be their God. Then he hatched a plan and began to implement it. Yea, for long ages he implemented the stages of his plan. And when the time was right, and he had many compatriots in his fall, he informed all who were in his way that they had graduated this galaxy and would be sent to the next highest galaxy. But lo, it was a trap. This was the first Luciferian rebellion, which is when cherubim rebel against Elohim and Jaja. These rebellions have been few, and this was the first. And though no Alephim cherubim from Madheba have ever fallen, some other races of cherubim have fallen, though very few considering the fathomless time that has unfolded. This is the story of the part that Jade and Janah played in the redemption of the galaxy that had fallen to Beelzebub. Having heard the report of First Spark about the evil doings in Beelzebub's galaxy, Janah felt that she could not wait for the return of Jade. For behold, First Spark had described entire planets being devoured for their natural resources and then discarded and poisoned desert wastelands. He described such horrors that Janah, the queen of compassion, felt she must depart immediately to help in that galaxy. She told First Spark, "Go to the other fallen realm where Jade has gone in another sector of the Mother Ovum. Inform him of my destination and ask him to follow when he can." First Spark departed on his mission to Jade, and Janah departed on her mission to the fallen galaxy of Beelzebub. When First Spark had first witnessed the atrocities of Beelzebub, he had tried to confront Beelzebub in person, but found it impossible. For Beelzebub resided in a tower that was surrounded by many technological barriers on a favored home planet, as well as natural barriers that prevented Beelzebub from being able to perceive or communicate with First Spark. Beelzebub had introduced enslaved light and artificial brains in many worlds in his galaxy. That's literally what we're dealing with right now. Enslaved light and artificial brains, right? Even our AI, these are those artificial brains that they've prophesied. By making beings believe that they were not naturally immortal, Beelzebub was able to trap souls within his galaxy. But even so, Beelzebub and his minions eventually became so dense as a result of their dark deeds that he could only operate in vibration fields as high as a youthful first heaven, and then only at the border, unless given assistance by residents within the buffer. Remember just how the false Yahweh had to call Adam and Eve from the edge of the garden over. He wasn't allowed in until they started killing and made that world more dense and fall down so that he was able to then come in. When First Spark had gone looking for Beelzebub's current home planet, the spiritual atmosphere around that planet was so dense that First Spark, of a much faster and higher quality vibration frequency than Beelzebub, could not be seen or heard by Beelzebub, only vaguely sensed as a powerful presence. And the other residents of this planet did not even sense the presence of Beelzebub, for Beelzebub kept their life vibrations beneath his own, that none in his galaxy could successfully challenge him for rulership. Definitely reminds us of the powers that be and how they're literally trying to keep our vibe so low that we can't rise up and create something better. I don't advocate violent resistance or any of that. That's not going to actually change the world that we're in. What we need to do is realize the divine within and then just stop agreeing to their programming and say, we're good on that. We're gonna do it our way. And then we just do it. We just be. Knowing that she would not go along with him, Beelzebub had ages before. It's confusing. And the other residents of his planet did not even sense the presence of Beelzebub, for Beelzebub kept their life vibrations beneath his own, that none in his galaxy could successfully challenge him for rulership. Knowing that she would not go along with him, Beelzebub had ages before locked in the dungeon of his dark tower the rightful overseeing Sarah of his galaxy, along with many other luminaries that would not join him in his rebellion. He imprisoned them by bombarding them with energy conjured by dark wizardry. So interesting that that's literally what's happening. Because they had not suspected that such evil would be perpetrated against them, these luminaries were taken by surprise without having created a counter spell. When bombarded with such force of energy as Beelzebub's technology made possible, life forms were so rattled and shaken as to be easily imprisoned. First Spark comprehended the activities taking place on this planet, though the planet did not comprehend First Spark. That is when First Spark had come to report to Jana about the fallen galaxy of Beelzebub. Now that Jana had sent First Spark with her message to far-off Jade, she headed to the homeworld of Beelzebub. For her compassion was so great that she felt called to reach out immediately in love and compassion to the beings of that fallen planet and galaxy of Beelzebub. However, in the many rotations of the cycles and seasons since the visit of First Spark to this far-off galaxy, Beelzebub had taken measures to capture First Spark, should he or another great being try and interfere in the politics of his galaxy. For Beelzebub had sensed First Spark's presence and realized his own vulnerability, should an archangel of Madheba, or perhaps another great being, come to visit his realm. And so he had taken measures to capture any such great being that might come. Beelzebub had placed gatekeepers loyal to him at key doorways into his galaxy, and especially the region of his home planet and its star system and neighboring systems. Therefore, he knew when Jana had entered the far reaches of his galaxy, and he had time to launch the following plan. Beelzebub knew that no natural force could kill a living being, especially a powerful, great being. But he had created technology that enabled him to so strongly bombard the vibration field of a great being as to stun them. If the bombardment is sustained, the great being would remain stunned and disabled, too disoriented to do more than dream strange dreams. Beelzebub knew not that this great being was Jana, only that some great being of the feminine spin had entered his galaxy, and he named that feminine presence Sophia. For the presence reminded him of the feminine presence of the rightful Sarah that he had imprisoned with the first use of his stun technology long before the coming of Jana. Beelzebub secretly feared the feminine wisdom, and he taught his people to fear Sophia, even before she came to his home planet. And he put forth a call to the which is, look at the world today too, and how the feminine divine is demonized. It's the same MO, just different characters. Same people doing same soul, same playbook, different souls. All connected, but yeah. And he put forth a call to the demonic world for evil beings to come serve as overseers of each cell of his personal body. With that act, Beelzebub took on the form of a black dragon, and each of the overseers of the cells of his personal body was a black dragon. And Beelzebub seeded this life form amongst the planets under his influence, and he altered the climate on those worlds to accommodate the monstrous life forms that he seeded. In other worlds, he seeded cyborgism, especially where his poisons had rendered organic life impossible. And in some worlds, including his home planet, he mixed the two, cyborgism and monstrous life forms. Long before Jana approached the home planet of Beelzebub, she had begun veiling her glory, taking bodies that would permit her to be seen and heard in the worlds she entered. She knew why First Spark had not been seen or heard in these denser realms. And in the worlds where she walked, as she approached the home planet of Beelzebub, she was called Pistis Sophia, and on her divine uh, religions were founded on her teachings wherever she passed, for she was hailed as the oracle of divine feminine wisdom. But by the time she got to the atmosphere of the home planet of Beelzebub, Jannah had changed her body so many times, each time diminishing her glory even further, that she entered the atmosphere in a weakened condition. And then, as Jannah entered the doorway to take incarnation on Beelzebub's planet, he struck with all his might. He struck Jannah as she entered his world. With the full might of his capacity for technological bombardment of a great being, Beelzebub and his multitude of dark wizards stunned and captured Jannah. Exulting that he had captured Pistis Sophia, Beelzebub bombarded her for a great duration, and then, noting her amnesia, he then put her in the body of a harem girl and made her his slave. This was the depth of the amnesia of Jannah, and she did not regain her memory until she was kissed by Jade when he rescued her. And the story of the rescue of Jannah by Jade now follows. Remember that Jannah had sent First Spark with a message to Jade. Eventually, First Spark caught up with Jade and delivered the message. Then Jade and First Spark, both concerned about Jannah, began the long journey to the sector of the mother ovum where resided Beelzebub. Jade had a plan. Jade correctly predicted that Jannah would enter the galaxy of Beelzebub in compassion, diminishing her glory to be seen by the eyes of the low beings in the worlds she walked as Pistis Sophia. He knew how she would be captured by bombardment in her weakened condition. He knew that he must avoid the same fate if he was going to free his sweetheart. Jade told First Spark, "We will enter this world in a flash of spiritual lightning that comprehends and transcends the thoughts and plots of Beelzebub. We will disable Beelzebub by reflecting his portion of light back into his eyes, but magnified 1,000-fold, so that he sees his own evil deeds and repents or flees. We will alter the vibration of this planet by touching it with our own higher vibration, thereby causing a multitude of tiny ascending spirals to vibrate forth from potential into actuality, and also to influence the shifting of many descending spirals of consciousness into ascending vibration patterns. The lightning of our comprehension of Beelzebub will disable his technological wizardry like a solar flare from the higher heavens. The solar flare of our insight will disrupt Beelzebub's enslaved light and will cast open the doors to the prisons and the dungeons beneath his tower. All of his prisoners will be freed, including Jannah." Then Jade and First Spark chanted their enchantment and manifested themselves as the light of comprehension that entered the atmosphere of Beelzebub's home planet as a solar flare and disabled his dark technology. Jade and First Spark set the captives free, and Beelzebub fled into the darkness of the shadow realms. For Beelzebub had long prepared back doors into many worlds in case of the need to escape the scene of his crime. And he had literally seated himself in many worlds and in many forms. Jade searched 3 years after the fall of Beelzebub before he found Jannah. When Jade found her, she was wandering free in a forest, her soul still in the body of the woman who had once been enslaved as a harem girl, but had escaped from Beelzebub when his technology was knocked out by the Lord's solar flare. Since her escape, Jannah, still unaware of her identity as Jannah, led the naturals that resisted the fallen regime of Beelzebub after the collapse of his technology. Jade came and worked by her side, and she fell in love with him. Then Jade kissed her, and Pistis Sophia knew that she was Jana. Her amnesia was gone once Jade kissed her lips. And from that time on, Jade has been known to kiss Jana on the lips, even in public, as a token of remembrance that celebrates their joyous reunion. Nazareans can celebrate this kiss of remembrance of Jade and Jana as a special theme of celebration during the month of love. Behold, from the time of the kiss of remembrance, Jade and Jana began to manifest multiple bodies with which to reach out in mercy to fallen worlds. That way, they could go on missions as a pair. And how do I know all of this? Behold, I, Hanukkah, called Sheba, was long ago the Sarah that Beelzebub first imprisoned in preparation for his rebellion, knowing that I would not cooperate with his corrupt plan. Jade rescued me along with Jana. I am honored to share this ancient lore with this worthy assembly. I love that. Love that so much. So much cool stuff in there. And yeah, so much about parallels to literally what is going on in our world today. So same playbook, different players, right? Cool. Wolfcoat says, I am looking actually for people who want to do something. Some rescued kids, some free animals, some want to discover the Roops Nigra or discover new lands. Absolutely. Well, that kind of leads me into what I am looking for. I am looking for what Ramsey joined, the Green Lion Army group, to join. In the description box below, you'll see the Facebook link to the Green Lion Army. We talked about that a little bit when we read the story of Peter Happen from the book of Isha. But this Green Lion Army is the army that will be in the last days raised up to fight the battle of the naturals. As us naturals, anyone who will fight to defend Mother Earth using the principles of Zion, these are the people that are welcome to join the Green Lion Army. So I would love for you to join that on Facebook with me. I know that is just a Facebook thing, but it is a symbol that you are aligned with the mission. And also, I'm going to be posting different scriptures and survival tips and different things like that that are Green Lion Army related. So it's kind of different than some of the other groups going on. Hello, Gigi. Hope everyone one day will discover this. Oh, yes, absolutely. Me too, sis. Hey, Jeffrey, how's it going? Jeffrey says VGT Live, episode 70. When Will replaces truth? Mark Passio and the cul-de-sac before the gold mine. Interesting. I am not really into Mark Passio or whatever. I mean, I actually don't really follow anybody at all at this point. But yeah. Hey, artist, how's it going? How are you doing today? David D says, Satan uses a stunning technology, various different machines to disable angelic beings. Yeah, it makes me think of those, it's already common, well, I shouldn't say common knowledge because common people don't know it, but it is readily available information that the powers that be have different frequencies that, for instance, can dispel a crowd and can cause all sorts of different, nausea or people losing their vision, not being able to function in like moving their bodies. It's just a very interesting thing to think about that because we, again, have this literal technology that's being used in our world today. The black dragon involves a large number of dragons incorporated into the various cells of the body of the dragon. Yeah, that's really interesting to read about how he called all of these evil ones to basically be the overseers of all of his cells. And yeah, what a surefire way to descend the golden ladder, right? Gigi says there is a timeline where instead of industrial and scientific inventions and revolutions, we did spirit technology and mind and body enhancement using herbs and earth cycles. We would have been so far. Yeah, I definitely agree that we could have definitely gone down that path line. Unfortunately, the powers that be have been trying to manipulate reality to bring us to this point in time where they want to replace what is natural with AI. They want us to get chipped, take their upgrades, all of these different things. So yeah, it's hard to know at what point what we could have stopped. Realistically, at any point we can change our minds and head a different direction. Becomes a lot harder when all of humanity is running in one direction, and a few people are like, hey, maybe we should change directions, right? And trying to get the stream to go the other way. But hey, that is the whole point of what we are doing here. And thankfully, as futile as that might sound, we know from the good book that our deeds do matter, and even one soul repenting and coming to the light is worth it all. But the eventual salvation is coming for all beings, and so it all is worth it. Okay, I'm gonna jump off of here because I got some things to do before we set up or before we have church on for this weekend. And I'm planning on tomorrow doing the cooking prep for the potluck. So I'm planning on recording a little video of that to show you my recipe that I'm making. And yeah, we'll see what else comes about. Tomorrow, I'm planning on reading the Canticle of Love. And that is essentially the love chapter from our good book that was chopped up and put into a lesser inspired version in other books. So David says that frequency weapons are real but hidden. Nukes are fake but used to generate fear. I was thinking of there's a documentary, or not a documentary, but an interview with some sort of military or some person that was actually talking about that frequency to be able to dispel crowds and different frequency weapons like that, which is really fascinating because they're telling us from that perspective. But yeah, I agree that the frequency weapons are very hidden. And then the 5G, right? It's literally all around us, cooking us and taking the oxygen out of the air and all these different factors. So nothing has changed. All right. David says, did the queen see how human like Moya the robot is? I actually did not. I know that I said I would look into that, but I forgot. So at least I have a rhyme to pass the time and forgive me of my sins. Please and thank you. All right. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I will catch up with you tomorrow. May God and the goddess bless you.